Hello there. Patch 1.11 is now out, and we have the full patch notes. In this video, we are going to go over these patch notes as well as take a quick look at what the new things we can do now with the in-game editor. You now have the chance to edit some things before the season starts, and we're going to take a quick look at that and see what we can do with a fresh create team save in terms of editing the game. This is going to be probably pretty huge for consoles, but for now, we're first going to take a look at the patch notes. And once we're done with that, we will be going over the what you can do with the editor, basically, that they've now added, or the season customization, as they call it. So let's just jump straight into it. With the new year having dawned upon us, we've been working hard at HQ to bring you a bunch of new features that let you take the wheel in what you do in F1 Manager. These features include a host of customization options that allow you to create new drivers, custom seasons, and change the race calendar. Manage your experience in the grid like never before, and we can't wait to see what you do with these new customization features. Please keep sharing your feedback and any issues observed with us in the issue tracker. Find the full update notes below. So let's talk a little bit about the new features that they've added. We can now customize the season, and basically we have expanded customization and season setups. We can edit all 10 teams' drivers and staff lineups. We can change the team starting balance, and we can set all 10 teams' facilities and car performance starting levels. I've taken a quick look at this, and this is basically like when you set up your create team setup. You don't have full customization. You are going to have the 5 levels for car performance, for instance, and you can kind of mix and match the facilities a little bit. So it's not 100% freedom. It's just a way to kind of customize the setups and make things a little bit more exciting. Take control of any team in creator mode, team mode. You still need to create your own team, however, as far as I understand it, but you can now start with any of the 10 regular teams. But your 11th team is also going to be in there. Create a driver, create your own drivers and staff, set up graphical info and staff attributes. We can take a quick look at this later on, but it's actually pretty decent. Race calendar customization, adjust the race calendar at the start of a new save. Move or remove to a minimum of 8. Racing schedules. Basically now you can mix and match your calendar a little bit. This is something you'll have to do at the start of a season. At the end of the season, you only get the option to change up the order randomly. So basically now you can take away tracks you don't like. You can trim the season down a little bit. But if you remove a track, you're not going to get it back as far as I understand it. New rules and regulation customization. So adjust the rules and regulations, including points allocation scheme. So basically the way this works is, again, not full freedom. It's going to be using the regulation changes that are in the game. So it's once again presets, but we'll take a quick look at that once we actually get to it. Calendar randomization, basically, optionally randomize the race calendar between seasons for a new challenge. Track evolution, this one's actually going to be pretty huge. So enhance simulation rubber on track and grip levels, and their impact on lap times during and across qualifying sessions. This could make qualifying a lot more interesting now, because so far to me, it's at least seemed very similar no matter what you do. There isn't really much different. But if we have now a better simulation of rubber and track and grip levels, this could also hopefully affect the races. But it's only mentioned in quality. So basically, I think you now are going to build up the rubber levels from Q3 to Q2. Sorry, from Q1 to Q2 to then Q3. And basically start at a higher grip level as the track gets rubbered in between each quality session. Which is how it works in real life. Driver rating updates. Overall rating adjustment made to some young drivers. I haven't actually figured out who these guys are yet because I've just come home, but I'm looking forward to seeing which drivers have been upgraded or downgraded. That one is going to be new saves only. A lot of these things are going to be new saves only, but they'll usually mention it. Nationalities. Generated and created drivers and staff now represent with a nationality. Custom teams can now be given a nationality, which means I can finally make a Norwegian F1 team, which is kind of neat. Stability and performance. Various stability and performance improvements. Resolve virtual keyboard stopping, appearing after quickly entering and exiting a text box. Switch only. So there were some questions about this, but this patch has been pushed to basically every console at the same time. PC, Switch, PlayStation, you get it. Everyone is getting this at the exact same time, which was earlier today. Create team. Like learn slice will no longer be shown on team branding screen when default drivers are left unchanged. Create team. Result in ability to see which are active sponsors in decal editor. Welcome email will no longer display incorrect contract data having started a create team game with vacant seats. So yeah, these are the bug fixes here. We'll be going over them. The breakout multiplier lowest limit has been set to 0.5. So now there's no contracts that aren't really gonna not cost you any money. When terminating a driver or staff member's contract, the cost to terminate contract will no longer display an incorrect value. So this is actually kind of good because usually it would, not show the correct one. Address blank response when offering contract with an immediate deadline on first day of race weekend. Basically, they will not respond because it's a race weekend. So that is a little bit of a problem. But yeah, at least it's been fixed. It's good. Revised UI in a contract negotiation screen. I look forward to seeing exactly what that means. But again, I love bug fixes. Finance and sponsorship. Resolve starting balance not updating when changing engine manufacturer during end of season flow. Address some engagement activities not contributing to the engagement target after first season. Engagement activities will no longer be available for facilities the user does not have. Resolve spending breakdown screen not displaying any incoming or outgoing data for sponsors. So honestly, finances should be a lot easier to manage now that you have more accurate data. So that is actually all really, really good. Team management, resolve entire level being displayed inconsistently between some screens. Basically, sometimes when you go back and forth, the mentality level will change because, well, one screen isn't showing the correct one. And hopefully that's been fixed now. It would be pretty good. Ticket issue feedback will no longer show an incorrect number of staff with the same opinion. Driver development emails will no longer show a blank sender. Okay. Race weekend. Address AI reluctance to send cars out in qualifying when track changes from red to dry. So basically, hopefully no more qualifying cheese. That would be huge. They've actually fixed that. Resolved incorrect finish position displayed on post-race driver performance screen. This is also kind of a funny one, but yeah, it's nice to see they fixed that one. Track rubber will no longer drop significantly after red flag. Bahrain race weekend dates have been updated. Cars will no longer go through the barrier after a collision on Baku's main straight. Resolved driver panel not highlighting when focused for an affiliate being used in FP1. And very low. Track rubber status will no longer show in green. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what they've done with the rubber. But the fact that track rubber will no longer drop significantly after red flag is kind of huge. We'll have to see if that affects the races in any way, shape, or form, but I assume it would. Reapplied missing audio in Brazil race moment for PS4 only. Added missing race moment descriptions. Resolved discrepancies in Las Vegas starting grid. Stroll and Bottas positions, the tile allocation, and their performance data. Presentation navigation, various localization improvements, adjusted driver numbers for rookie drivers. Apologies there. Resolved WDC not reverting to previous race number and no longer reigning champion. Okay, so that explains it then why there's a lot of number ones. Add a donut chart to the marketability tooltip. Updated dialogue text for Thea Pocher to remove a grammar mistake. Reduce the clipping seen on Mercedes drivers' hands when using a T-cam. Double-digit driver numbers will no longer be cut off when present on a McLaren. Resolved incorrect results being displayed in Grand Prix sections of F2, F3 standings. Resolved scout for replacement button in expiring support and director contract email correctly linking to head of aero staff. So yeah, that's actually a good fix. Particularly, it's going to help our newer players. Rework the game navigation to return the player to staff rather than drive menu after assigning a race engineer via the ladder. Address code showing text on staff survey email when language set to Italian. Add development focus to details tab on top of level driver screen. Move descriptive text on the top level driver screen into a secondary tooltip. Resolve time column displaying correctly when using stepper to view results for each F2, F3 session. All in all, I feel like these are a bunch of good fixes, and particularly I do like they've added a bunch of new features. We're going to take a quick look at what the editing could do. I'm going to be streaming by the time this video is out, so we'll probably try and take a look at track evolution during that stream. But basically, I'll be going over with the new videos focusing mainly on these features sometime soon, probably over the course of this week. But for today, I'm just going to stream and take a look at it in that way. But I do want to show you what you can do with the editor, and that is going to be the final thing we do in this video. So first and foremost, calling this an editor is actually pretty wrong. Basically now, when you start a creative team, you will now have the option to do some season customization at the start of your season. And with this, you can enter the team lineups like this. We can now see the Red Bull lineups with their drivers, the race engineers, their staff, as well as their starting balance in terms of money, facilities. If we toggle this, we can kind of mess around with it. Otherwise, they just get the default ones. And same here with the car performance. We can basically make the Red Bull into a Sauber if we did that. But yeah, you have these options there. They're pretty basic, I'm not gonna lie. But it does give you a lot of freedom to kind of mess around. And if you want, you can also just create a completely insane Red Bull team here with some interesting options. And as you can see here, we can also create new drivers. You have 22 potential available, one for each position in a team. So you could fill up the entire grid with your own created drivers to create an interesting scenario. And similarly here, you can create staff members too. I'm not sure if you have 11 in total or 11 for each position, but considering you can make 22 race engineers, it does seem like there is a total of 11 in each position that requires one staff member, and 22 in a position that requires two. So you can fill out the entire grid in terms of both drivers and staff with your own created ones if you so wish. And as I mentioned here, these are the 10 base teams. You can mess around with these as you see fit. Let's say that you want to buff Alpine, max out car performance like that, and they'll be fighting for podiums. I haven't actually tested yet, but I assume the car performance and facilities there are the same as Great Team. So this is going to be basically put your car as the third best car on the grid, and you'll very, very quickly become competitive. But yeah, this gives us a lot of freedom to mess around and kind of create the conditions that we want. The only criticism I have is that I don't seem to be able to pick random drivers. I can't just do the random selection that you get with Creative Team, which is a little bit unfortunate, but honestly, it's not a terrible thing. It's just a minor criticism. This is going to give you a lot of freedom to mess around with things, and again, here for starting budget, you can go up to 100 million. That's kind of huge. These might be a little bit different then. But yeah, you can't edit the facilities, you can just put the quality in. So I'll have to take a look at this. At one point, I won't have time today, as I mentioned, because I'm planning to stream later. But I'll be taking a look at these and kind of go over what you can expect from each one of them. But yeah, that are the team lineups. You have a lot of freedom there. Race calendar is working in a pretty similar way. If you say don't like Jeddah, you can either replace it with, say, Sakir. You can't have multiple of the same race either, so you'd have to, replace it with something else. In this case, the last, which is Abu Dhabi, and the first race, Bahrain, need to both be on the grid order here. So you need to have at least these two, but the other 8 races you can probably kind of put wherever you want, and you can probably create a bit more balance of a calendar that way. Well, if you create fewer teams, because again, these slots are kind of just there. It's going to be hard to, as you can see, if I remove something, it's just gone, and we now have a slot where we can put in the races. If I remove something, if I add something that is somewhere else, I'm not allowed. So basically, you can't cut away races, but you can't double down on races. You're still going to have to use the editor for that. But I like this. It's a good way to give you some easy customization of for your calendar. And of course, you can now toggle off sprint weekends. So if you want, you can remove every single sprint weekend before you start a season with relative ease. Now, as I talked about when I went over what this actually means with these easy customization rules regulations, it follows the schemes here. So I don't know if we'll be able to edit these. There might be some, genius out there who might be able to figure out how to edit the schemes. This I could see be an update to the database editor, perhaps. But if we do get that, then we could probably see some better schemes here. Because points here, we only have 3 ones. The current one, first get 25, the 10 get 1. The top 8 drivers get points. Or even worse, the top 6 drivers get points. We can give pole position a bonus lap. We can double points last race. Last lap bonus point. And we can also mess around here with the aerodynamics testing. I had very high hopes when I read about this yesterday. But unfortunately, it just follows one of the 4 regulation changes for the aerodynamic testing. The regular one, which is what we currently have, the everyone is equal. The main boost to the guys in the back. And of course, the somewhat balanced one. Probably one of the more balanced one that is, everyone gets the same. You can, however, also up the number of engines, ERSs, and gearboxes, which is kind of good. But I believe regulation changes in the game can immediately, mess this up. If you feel like they're kind of breaking things, or, you don't like those regulation changes, you can save scum them. So I just want to give you a heads up there. In terms of the other things here, financially, we can mess around with the cost cap. We can go all the way down to 125 million, up to 175. So you have a lot more freedom now. If you want to make the cost cap a lot more, forgiving, you can go ahead and do that. And in terms of the season price, season share scheme here, It's basically the current one versus give more to the top teams. So nothing too serious there, but honestly, considering that console had no way to really edit their save properly before this is still really, really good, I dare say. This is still a very decent update. I would have loved more freedom, but then again, that is just me being greedy more than anything else. The update is still amazing. I'm looking forward to taking a bit of a look at it. And once you're ready, if you want to save your preset here, you just save it as a season, or you press continue if you do not care about doing just that. And from here, you're basically putting together your own team. You can pick your nationality. In this case, I'm of course going to be Norwegian. You can do your origins as usual. It's basically, again, just a create team editor from here. But you do have one exception, that is you can create your own drivers and put into your own create team as well. So there is some good freedom here. Honestly, I'm looking forward to messing around with this. Honestly, we're probably going to do some interesting-ish challenges, like buffing every team to a 5-star team, have me be a 1-star, and just see what we can do, if we can catch up and overtake them. There are also a couple of new liveries, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they are under here in presets. I believe these are the ones. Maybe. But yeah, there's 2 new free livery packs. You can get them on the on Steam through the pack. This one's actually kind of neat. I like that one. Honestly, all of these are kind of neat. But yeah, there's 12 new livery presets for you to pick up. And again, they are free DLC that you can, again, just pick up for free here. But that was it for this. We are going to be doing some testing going forwards. Don't really have much time for testing today. As I mentioned, I want to stream. So probably a video in a day or two. But so far, as I said, this update is great. I'm probably being a little bit more greedy when I hope for basically free editing. But I can understand what they choose to do in this way. And it's still, again, a lot of freedom. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think. And I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.